phenomenal. But when you think it's coming to an end, it must be like if you're not ready for it, if you don't want it. So you and I had an interesting conversation last night about money and stuff like that.
Mm.
And the one thing that kind of we were talking about is we don't really feel the need for a 100-meter yacht or
Yeah,
or
we would be nice, but we don't need it.
but neither one of us, but when we were even talking about properties and stuff like that, we both have an aversion to like massive grandiose mansions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I couldn't think of anything worse because
Yeah,
it's like, hey, look at me, I'm here, whilst protecting yourself with loads of security and trying to hide from the world at the same time. There's a
yeah.
bit of a contradiction there, isn't there?
So the chances are, if you and I had somehow rolled different dice and ended up famous and in Hollywood, we probably wouldn't live in Los Angeles. There you go.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
we would probably just stay in the Beverly Hills Hotel while we were working there, while we needed to be there, and then we would go somewhere else in the world and disappear.
Yellowstone, I'd happily go to Yellowstone and spend some time in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. That
Yeah,
would be that would be so nice.
just something. But because we're just not driven by that, it puts us off it.
Mm.
And that like Candace Owens is the weird thing is what she's done by attacking Bridget Macron. Although it's brought her legal cases, she's also actually doing mainstream news.
Yeah,
She's in all the
more
newspapers,
attention.
all the magazines. Yeah, but it's clever.
Yeah, he's like, she doesn't actually need to care what she says. She just has to make sure what she says is relevant enough to get her more admiration and more attention.
Yeah,
Or
it
is it
carries.
attention, then potentially admiration on the back of the attention?
Yeah, weaponized detention, and it literally is because she has jumped on to all of the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm loving this putting weaponized in front of everything. It's kind of it's bizarre how relevant it seems to have suddenly become in our conversation, just putting
Yeah,
weaponized in front of certain keywords. Like, yeah, okay, that's what that is. That's really interesting.
and she has she's weaponized certain things for attention, for viewership.
Mm.
And like you said, when Piers Morgan asked her to simply take a test to prove she's a woman, she deflected all of it as to why she didn't have to do it, but would not apply the same set of rules to Bridget Macron.
No, and I'd call that cognitive dissonance,
I
and definitely kind of hypocritical.
I think for me, I think for me, there's two things that I don't understand. One, why she felt the need to deflect it. Well, like, why bother? Because two, she could literally weaponize it and say, hey, Piers, why don't you and I do a live test where I do exactly what you're asking me to do and prove that I'm a woman, and then you can ask Bridget Macron to do the same. It's not
Well,
hard, is it?
I'm going to go for the term narcissistic injury. She's been challenged, and narcissists don't like being challenged. I think the whole thing with her leaving TPUSA was again narcissistic injury, which is why she does what she does. I think that is the result of narcissistic injury. But again, there's more experienced people and certainly more qualified because I'm not qualified people than me that can go down that road and explain it so much better. So I'm not going to say too much on that. But from what I understand, that would be a view that I would take.
Do you know? Yeah, I was just going to just check. Did she get fired from the Daily Wire? I think she was. Yeah, she was fired from the Daily Wire.
There you go. That is well, then that feeds right into narcissistic injury.
So,
How dare you fire me? I am
well,
great.
the reason she was fired was because it was regarded that her commentary was widely considered to be anti-Semitic.
Yeah, but it's
Uh,
challenging, isn't it? It's challenging the way that she goes about stuff because she already knows better because she's already, born into a good family, had the right background, and she's got all these things in her favor. So how can you ever challenge her and tell her she's wrong? Because, well, it's Candace Owens. She's not wrong.
and I think she resigned from Turning Point.
For what reason?
Uh, let me just. I'm just trying to look it up. Please bear with me, people. Uh,
So
Owens
tell us
was
in
the
the comments
communications
below.
director for Turning Point USA from 2017 to 2019. Didn't say why she left, so I think she just.
Okay, maybe the viewers can help us. Can you help us work out whether Candace Owens was fired from TP USA or whether she left,
No, she
or
did
whether
resign
it's
from.
or she
She did
resigned? Does it
resign.
say why
Yeah.
she resigned?
No.
Does anybody know why she resigned?
She quit in May 2019. Communications director Candace Owens resigned after controversial remarks she made in December 2018 were publicized, and some TP USA campus chapters called for her resignation.
Ah, so she was asked to resign.
Hmm.
Very different to actually just resigning.
She had said in a speech at a conservative event in London that if Hitler had just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. She later stated that leftist journalist has mischaracterized her statement.
Oh, maybe some anybody that watches this episode can shed some more light on that.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's what happened. That's what that was about. So again, it kind of leads into that thing that she's always kind of maybe just touching, you know, just
Well, I
always
think it kind of leads into what we've just said with our mentalist episodes. Is that actually the 90 to 99% of what she says may well be true. It's not that you need to watch out for. It's the 1 to 10% of ambiguity in between that is the thing that can cause the controversy, um, and potentially the lie, and can maybe actually just make you fill in the blanks of the lie yourself. So she doesn't actually need to tell you, you fill it in for yourself because the brain, we know the human brain loves to fill in the blanks quite naturally. So if she
yeah.
leaves enough ambiguity, then your brain will do the rest of the work.
I think because, like I said, I didn't hear the speech. I don't know what the intention of the speech was, and I think sometimes, and this is something that's very difficult, is when you're in someone like her position, you have to be really careful that you're not clumsy with when you say something.
Mm,
And sometimes you can have an opinion that doesn't hold up when it's challenged. But what you don't get is the right to say, "Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it like that. That was really stupid of me."
yeah,
That right
which is what you and
disappears.
I do a lot. Which is the reason we talk, is because you and I do it a
Yeah,
lot. We change our minds based on the information each other provide for one another. We're like, yeah,
yeah,
okay, I didn't think about it like that. You may have a point. And it's not
yeah.
about backing down or agreeing. It's about actually, it's just about respecting another point of view that could potentially impact the point of view that you held. And David and I
And
seem to
this
be
could
quite good
be,
at
like I
this.
said, I don't know what the statement about Hitler was that she was trying to make, but is it possible that if somebody had challenged her and talked to her about it, she might have come out and said that was a really clumsy thing to say.
Hmm. I want to know if any of our viewers that will watch this episode will know anything more on that, and if they're willing to leave comments below for us, because I think that would be quite interesting. And then maybe we do a follow-up episode based on
Yeah,
that, because that would be
perfect.
quite cool, I think, because we're trying to keep away from doing overly political or religious topics on purpose. This is a discussion David and I have had a lot, which is why it's taken us a bit of time to come around to Candace Owens, because it always seems to go down that road, whereas this particular one didn't. It's not a political challenge or a point of view. But ultimately, we know Candice is politically loaded,
Yeah,
which makes her very difficult to cover or have discussions around. But if you know anything about that statement that David highlighted on Candace Owens' reference to Hitler, please let us know, because that would be quite interesting. We'll
yeah,
quite happily do a follow-up episode based on your speculations and opinions, and we'll discuss them without having any opinions necessarily of our own to bring into the mix. Because, like I say, we are staying away from keeping our political and religious opinions out of the mainstream talking points, because we just don't think it's necessary, and we're not after rage bait or clickbait or anything like that. So it's irrelevant for us.